Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 103 169. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And this is a very exciting episode for me because finally, as a long-suffering Jewish horror fan, I get a Hanukkah horror movie to discuss.
Oh, yeah. It only took us 4 years, Brian, to recognize your people.
I know, right? And, and it's just in honor of this, we are going to make this episode 8 days long. So basically, the miracle will be if you make it through all 8 days.
Well, to be fair, there's not a lot of Hanukkah-themed horror out there. So
there's not. And every other idea is like actually given in this movie in a little scene where they're joking about how there's no Hanukkah horror movies.
Yeah.
And like Conan and I were joking the other day too. We were saying about some other ideas we had for some Jewish horror films. So hopefully we'll this is just the start of it, you know?
Yeah, well, we'll get to that shortly, but that will be right after our first shot. Okay, Brian, so the big news that we didn't get to talk about last week because it had just not come out yet was the Castle Freak reimagining that we've been heavily hyped for, that we had Emily Sweet on our show to talk about earlier in an earlier interview, and we finally got to see it. So what were your thoughts, Brian?
So obviously this was building up all year since we really knew about it, and this was so marked for an opportunity to be, that anticipation. And I'm happy to say it is the exact opposite. It was even better than I expected. I knew it was gonna be good, but I didn't expect to love it. So I watched it twice already. It blew me away because I thought it had the challenge of, and the thing is, we knew it was in good hands. We knew Emily by that point. We know Barbara Crampton was producing it. We know it was not going to be something that was going to be just haphazardly put together. But it had the challenge of trying to be a good reimagining of it, while also staying faithful to the original, which people love so much. And I thought they did the exact perfect job of doing that. There were so many great references to the original, little nods here and there, but then there were enough differences to make it its own thing and its own crazy, amazing, wonderful thing.
Yeah, I agree. I had probably the same experience as you. I was heavily hyped. But I had kind of expected to be disappointed. I was kind of like prepping myself for that. But it only took me like 5 or 10 minutes in, and I knew it was going to be fine because when they used the old Castle Freak font for the opening intro, I was like, okay, I know they're going to show proper respect to the original movie, and I was glad to see that they did not try to make a carbon copy remake. It stands on its own. To me, it kind of reminded me of how the new Pet Sematary remake, did some things differently that were a lot different from the first movie, but it follows kind of the same structure. But in the end, it stands alone, and it's a perfectly enjoyable version that doesn't detract from my love of the original at all in any way. And this is the same way with Castle Freak. So, I had a great time with it. I was kind of get a sense from the horror boards, some of the horror groups I'm on, like which way a movie's trending in terms of do people really like it, do people really hate it. And this one, as you might expect, got some mixed reviews. The people that did not like it, I could definitely tell it was a case of you touched my original Castle Freak and I'm not going to like anything. I mean, they kind of had that sense that they were going to hate it no matter what going in. So I kind of, expected that from those types of viewers. But the people that kind of went in with an open mind seemed to really, really enjoy it the same way I did. And I kind of defended it on the boards as well because there was I would actually say there was probably more positive reviews than negative, though, overall, even in the forum threads that started with, hey, I hated this movie.
Yeah, and everyone I talked to about it loved it, of course. And, of course, our friend Emily Sweet did an amazing job. along with the cast and crew, you could tell they went all in on it. You could just sense it. You got that vibe from the movie the way it was. And I didn't recognize though the one that played the mother. She was in that movie, Eyes of My Mother, which I think I watched back in season 1.
Yeah, you're right.
And I was like, oh, she looks really familiar. And then I looked, so that was a nice, pleasant surprise too. And I just think it was cool because they kind of did a modern take on it, but still kind of gave it, because I mean, yes, anytime a movie is in a castle, it kind of brings it back a little bit, but they did it in such a cool way. And I thought I loved the amped up gore. Like, they did not hold back on any of the gore.
Oh yeah.
There was some good humor in it even there. And, it's just like, I don't know. To me, it was like everything I wanted in it, and then some. So it was like, I can't, like, actually now, like, talking about it, I kind of want to watch it again. But and it, and it's hard because I don't want to. I know it's still new. I don't want to tell. I don't want to go into specific scenes for those who haven't got a chance to watch it yet. I know this is a very busy time of year for people,
right?
And I mean, as where we're talking now, it's literally like 4 days old. And so I don't, of it being on there. So I don't want to go into too many spoilers other than, the basics of it. But, yeah, I think that people going into it who've never seen the original will absolutely love it. But I really think that the people, even who love the original, like you and I love the original, go in with an open mind. I think they'll enjoy this one just as much. It's different enough and same enough.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would caution is go in with an open mind. Don't try to compare it scene by scene with the original. Take it for what it is, and I think you'll really enjoy it. And they up the Lovecraft quotient quite a bit.
I was just going to say, that's what I wanted to ask for you, because I know you are a absolutely huge Lovecraft guy. To me, I don't know nearly as much about it as you. I know the kind of the basics of Lovecraft stuff, but so as a viewer now and a really big fan of Lovecraft, do you think you liked what they did with that, right? By really amping up the Lovecraft.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I thought that was the strong point of the movie for me in terms of the way of the things it did differently. That was my favorite thing they did do differently, is focus more on the Lovecraft aspect of it, because the original Castle Freak, while it's based on Lovecraft, it's a very loose adaptation, and they don't really go into it all that much like they do in this reimagining, where they really, really try to tie it in with his works and stuff. So I absolutely love that part of it. And I think if you are a Lovecraft fan, Lovecraft's kind of getting a resurgence now with Color.
Oh my God, is he ever? Yeah. And then the Lovecraft country.
Yeah.
Lovecraft country.
Well, I think people have figured out a way to come to terms with his being a bad person, which we know he was. He was a racist and a xenophobe and everything else. But I think people have figured out a way to recognize that and still adapt his stories, but do it in a way where they're not respecting him as a person. They're just taking his writing and expanding on the mythos of it. And I think they finally figured out a way to do that. So, so I mean, I like that part of it, because as much as a Lovecraft fan I am, I'm not a fan of who he was as a person, obviously. But at some point, that mythos is much bigger than what he is. So the fact that they're finding ways to get around that and, make new movies and stuff out of his material without, idolizing him is a good thing, in my opinion. So
yeah, and I will say, without saying why, just make sure you stay through the credits. You want to see that there is a mid-credit scene that will horror fans, it will blow you away. That's all I'm gonna say. So definitely, when you watch that, if you haven't seen it yet, stay through the end credits. And so we'll I think this is a movie that I want to revisit as a full deep dive in the near future.
Yeah,
probably we'll open up season 5 with that, because obviously we have the rest of our holiday slate to finish off and to finish our season finale when we record next week. I mean, maybe we could sneak it in as a bonus. We'll have to see. I know it gets really crazy around this time of year. I know Tim and I are both crazy at our actual jobs, the ones that pay us and not hemorrhage the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the podcast does. But so yeah, so maybe we can sneak it in as a mini-so, but we definitely know we want to discuss it. We still have yet to even like fully get a good other than a few back and forth with Emily. We need to talk to her. We're going to try and set something up so we could talk to her about this because we've been dying for us all to see it and then be able to discuss it with her. And she's actually, I guess she's on a shoot currently, so we can't even really get the full thing. But hopefully this week where we're going to try and set something up, we could talk to her. So yeah, so definitely watch it. It was definitely a labor of love from Barbara Crampton in there and the whole team. And you know what? I'm so happy for the team because, in a year of 2020 with just constant disappointments, it seems like the horror community has been blessed in a lot of ways in getting stuff. And this is no exception where you see that they, I assume it was supposed to at one point be a theatrical release. But you know what? If you can't get a movie out in the theater, a horror movie, and you go to Shudder, you know what? You're not that bad shape.
No.
You're in good shape hitting Shudder.
Yeah.
Because as you'll see in my next first drop segment after Tim's, Shudder has another hit we'll discuss quickly. So
brief timeout from the first chops. I have another beer tasting I'm doing right now. This is a Terrapin Dancing Gummy Beer, and this is a hemp cherry Berliner Weiss, and it says pairs well with festivals, and there's a bunch of pot leaves on it, so you kind of know what you're getting into. Brian, I have to say this might be the first Terrapin beer I've ever tried that I don't particularly like. This one is way too hempy for me. I'm not a partaker of of that particular substance.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a little bit too pot heavy for me for sure. It tastes like drinking a lawn seat at a Grateful Dead concert.
Oh my god.
It really does.
Was it a lawn seat that someone sat on already or just like a fresh lawn seat?
I think there's quite a few people have sat on it actually.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's yeah, wow. It's definitely got, if you like the hemp flavor, man, you'll love that. It's like drinking the bottom of a ashtray there. But anyway. That's my first bad Terrapin beer review, but it can't all be winners, so I'll pass on that one. But that's more because of the style than it is the company. So, getting on to my next movie, I watched one called Blood Beat from 1983. This one's on Shudder if you guys want to check it out. I was pulled in because of the description, thanks to Shudder's clever marketing team, who described this as a holiday cult gem. And holiday, yes. Cult, maybe. Jim, don't know about that. This one, wow. Where to begin? So this movie is about a group of people that join together over the Christmas break to go up to this hunting. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing the plot here because it really made no sense. But anyway, but while they're the lady of the house, who looks like the poor man's Shelley Duvall. She wanders around the house in this poncho all the time.
I was gonna say an olive oil gear. Which one?
It looks like Shelley Duvall if she just walked around in a poncho holding a paintbrush. And so she's an artist, so she goes into these trances and paints these weird paintings that are abstract paintings. And so kind of all the family are kind of like, yeah, she's kind of weird that way. She paints and stuff. She stays locked up in a room all the time. So long story short, the plot of this movie is that she gets possessed by a samurai spirit. And I swear...
Why is it Blood Beat? I assume it was a musical. What happened?
I don't know. My only guess for this movie is that some guy had a full set of samurai armor and was like, how can I make a movie out of this?
My God, this is how every bad movie within a movie gets made.
Yeah, but when
they have an object and they find something and they base a movie around it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's got everything you would want. It's got bad acting. Although there are some really good performances in this too, which is funny. It's bad acting, and there's this one guy that was super awesome. He had this conversational acting style that sounded realistic, so it came across as really good acting. I don't know how to describe it.
It was Mumblegore, I don't know,
but it was more Yeah, it's kind of like this more like natural dialogue. I don't know how to describe it. I thought it was cool. I noticed it for some reason, and I was like, yeah, that guy, I like that guy. And he's only been like in 3 things. And then the low
Blood Beat 1, Blood Beat 2, and Blood Beat 3.
Low rent Shelley Duvall. This was her only movie, and I have no idea what happened to her. She's got this 1 entry on IMDb and nothing about her. So
that's like a Tony Osalchek from Blood Harvest. Remember?
Yeah.
Even Joe Bob couldn't find her. Remember when they did that? He was saying they have no idea where she disappeared off. She literally disappeared off the planet Earth.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's got some really horrific 80s special effects. You know, like when they literally hand draw the like beams coming out of people's hands and stuff. It's got that on there. No. And then I want to recreate a scene because this is going to work great for audio. So I'm going to recreate a scene real quick. Let me go get my prop, Brian.
Uh-oh.
All right, I want to set this up for you. Okay. So the scene is they're getting ready to go hunting, which is, it's a bad idea. Don't take people that don't hunt to go hunting. So he takes these two of the guys decided to take the 2 girls out hunting, and some of them have guns and some of them have archery bows. Not crossbows, there's regular bows, hunting bows. And so they're all going to go out and hunt deer. And one of the girls is already kind of freaked out. But anyway, so they're getting ready to climb under this fence. And this is a verbatim, well, kind of verbatim. I may be paraphrasing a little bit, but this is what it sounded like in the scene. And he goes, okay, we're going to go hunting, but we're going to hunt quietly. And then he proceeds to crawl under the fence like this.
Oh my god!
So that's the kind of movie you're getting. I thought that would work well for audio, but
oh my god, that was like deafening.
Just I'm like a deer 5 miles away could have heard them.
So he was that person sitting in your audience during A Quiet Place, right? The one
exactly.
With the candy bar.
It's a weird. You know what? I put it on the level. If you've ever seen Kathy's Curse.
Oh yeah.
I put it on that level of movie. But not quite as entertaining as Kathy's Curse. I can see why it would be a cult movie because there are some sequences in there where you kind of like it has that cheesiness of it, but it's just not as entertaining. That's the only thing that was the downside for me. So anyway, yeah, Blood Beat on Shudder. Tim Bob says, check it out. One star.
with a crunch foo, yeah, I guess.
Yes.
I think I fared a little bit better. We actually got this screener, but now it is on Shudder too for everyone to watch.
Oh, I want to see this one.
And that's Anything for Jackson. Oh my god! You know, Jeff Whitmire, our buddy Jeff Whitmire, he had mentioned it, seeing it when it hit Shudder too, and he's like, "Oh my god, have you seen this yet?" And I'm like, "No, I'm about to watch it," and so I finally got to watch it. Oh my god, I love this movie. This thing, you have to see it. This one was so well done and so unexpectedly. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say unexpectedly good because there was a lot of hype going on for it, but I didn't think I would be that into it. There is some. So I'll read to you the official summary on IMDb. It's basically because it sounds like it's one of those ones that you'd like laugh at the plot, but don't because it's so good. It says, a bereaved Satanist couple kidnap a pregnant woman so they could use an ancient spell book to put their dead grandson's spirit into her unborn child, but end up summoning more than they bargained for. And so, yeah, long story short, I mean, that's basically a good description of it. But I'm telling you, some of the imagery in this, some of the creepiest I've ever seen.
Really?
It's so. There is this one. I want to describe it in detail, but I don't even think I could. But I will tell you, you'll know the one I saw. Tim, when you watch it, you'll know exactly which one it was that freaked me out a little bit. And I was like, oh, But yeah, no, it's really good. And it's actually, it's because the couple is so not what you'd think. If you see that, especially if you watch the trailer, you would not think that this couple is a satanic, like worshiping couple, and it's like because they're so like one's like he's basically that the guy is like an obstetrician. He's very British and like proper, and the wife is the one. Do you remember Die Hard 2? She played the reporter that was like always kind of trying to go, hey, John McClane.
Yeah.
So, but now she's a little older now, and so she's plays a very sophisticated wife. So it's like and the dialogue, it like just doesn't like is so sophisticated for what's about to happen. It's just so cool. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you. Just definitely watch this one right away. On Shudder, it's one of the Shudder originals. It's called, and once again, it's Anything for Jackson. Super well done and creepy imagery. This is one I totally want. I hope KK Sam does, because I'd love to hear their like take on some of the stuff and their little nicknames for things.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, you got to see this, and it's like even Julie was watching it with me. She was like, "Whoa!" Like, you know, she was so into it, and so because it was such an engaging film. So it's right up there in one of my favorites of the year already. So
wow, I may watch it after the podcast recording tonight.
Yeah, you should, and it's not long. It's not very long. And so sorry, I apologize for the crunching. That's my lozenge, because I've been doing training sessions at work where I've literally had to talk for like 2 hours straight. Not good on podcast day, because then by the time by the end of the day, my throat is very hoarse. So, because it's also, I don't know about what the weather's like here, but us in New York, it's been so cold and dry. I had to actually put the humidifier on. It was so dry. Like, Julie and I, our skin's like crackling. It's so dry.
It's been weird here. It's been like, it'll be like really cold one day, and then it'll just be like, you know, you could go out in a decent, without a coat, you know, 50s.
Yeah, no, well, for us, we're going in and out, you know, because of OB. So,
yeah,
you know, so it's like, you know, and then constantly washing our hands, and it's, you know, it's like, so COVID does not do well in this. Remember, we got lucky because when COVID started, it was like the end of the winter, and it wasn't that bad of a winter at that point.
Yeah.
So we only had a couple. Now, like, you know, imagine now washing your hands like as many as like, you know, as COVID tells you to, but in like after coming in a cold, dry air, it's bad. And so my throat, like, I've been drinking water all day just because it's so dry in our apartment. You know, but it gets a little chilly, so you got to put the heat on, which of course dries you out more. Yeah. So we have had the humidifier on. So I apologize if you hear some random crunching and slurping. I know Cody picks that stuff up because remember the last time I had the lozenge?
Detected it in a heartbeat. Yeah.
She was like, "Were you guys eating during the podcast?" I'm like, "No, I had a lozenge." So I apologize, but yeah. So definitely, yeah, watch Anything for Jackson. It's not that long, but it's so good, so packed, and it gets going right from the beginning. Like, it doesn't wait. You get right into stuff going on, and it's just like the performances are phenomenal. Definitely one of my favorites of the year.
All right, well, let's get to our featured film. Brian, Hanukah, finally a Hanukkah horror movie from 2019, directed by Eben McGar. And I'll probably kill some of these names, but we'll go.
Yeah, I left them all there for you.
Yeah, those. See how he treats me, guys. He sets me up. All right.
I need some entertainment, you know.
All right, so we got Charles Fleischer as Amon Feist, Sid Haig, the great Sid Haig, as Judah Lazarus, Carolyn Williams as Anna Lazarus, P.J. Souls as Mrs. Horowitz, Sadie Katz as Rachel, Victoria Demare as Amanda, Robert Feisted Jr. as Adam, Tolliver Harris as David, Louise Rosalma as Judy, Joe Netter as Obadiah Lazarus, Wally Habib as Yuri, Adam Freneck as Ivan, Caleb Thomas as Ian, and Dick Miller as Rabbi Walter Paisley. I did it pretty good, I thought.
Yeah. And that Rabbi Walter Paisley, that's definitely worthy of some trivia there. We'll discuss a little bit later.
Yeah, it was great seeing Dick Miller one last time for sure. And Sid Haig. He was, great as usual. A group of Jewish young adults are in for a Festival of Frights. With the help of a rabbi, they deduce that they are being targeted because they have violated Judaic law, and that their only chance of survival is to embrace their faith.
Oh my god, I'd be so dead in this movie. I'll tell you. I mean, I'm pretty good with the holidays, but like, I know, like, it never fails that at least one string Passover, I totally forget and eat bread. Once through Hanukkah, every time I forget to light the candles one night. So I would not survive this movie. I apologize to Kim and Ket. They've taught me so well how to survive a horror movie, and I wouldn't even survive my own Jewish horror movie. Think about it.
Yeah, it starts off with like some. I thought the intro was really, really good with Sid Haig in it.
Really strong intro, yeah, because you kind of like, it's like from that point you think it's going to be dark the whole time. You don't expect it to go to the like comedic spots it tries to go to. It's kind of like a mix after that. It's weird. It's like it's a little unbalanced that way.
Yeah, I kind of wish it had stayed with the tone of the intro, which I think it could have been really, really great there. But it kind of delves into your typical balance of slasher comedy, I guess. You typically have that.
But if you think about it, that really, once you see the movie as a whole, that's what you know it was going for. There's a lot of horror jokes and references in there.
Right.
Like PJ Souls, the character, has her line, which like totally, just. So, and there was the Halloween gag in there where he was standing there in the bushes. Remember?
Yeah, that was
like
great.
The shot for shot. There's a lot of cool stuff like that in there. So, but and the fact that Charles Fleischer, Roger Rabbit himself, is in this is a clue. It's going to be a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor in there with actually some total overtly humorous moments. But
and there's some big stars behind the scenes. Like Kane Hodder was, I believe, stunt coordinator, and you had Felissa Rose is one of the producers.
Yeah.
So lots of horror cred like behind the scenes with this one. And I actually liked a lot of the humor was actually pretty funny to me as a horror fan. So I did like that aspect of it. I think the weak point for me was I kind of wish, like I said before, I kind of wish the dark theme of the opening kind of stayed throughout. But it is kind of weird because when it does get dark, it gets really dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of the I don't want to say really torture scenes, but they're kind of torturous. But those scenes were like super, like almost unnervingly well done.
Yeah, and they were well done. Like the gore effects, the effects in this were good. Like I forgot her Jude. I think it's the Judy character. She's one of the girls at the end. She's the one with Rachel, Sadie Katz. Those two girls. At the end, they, well, not trying not to spoil it, but basically their sequences of torture there are pretty brutal. I mean, definitely Judy's more so than Sadie Katz, kind of more the aftermath they show. Mm-hmm. But and then of course Victoria DeMar, she does a really, like, what did you say? She did like a really very bold and brave role. She's literally,
oh my god,
like stripped to no clothes, dropped into a pit, and then basically her whole sequence, her storyline in this movie is literally trying to escape the whole time. And she does some crazy stuff to get, she breaks her thumb to get out of a handcuff. And then she gets caught in a trap, and she basically digs into her ankle almost to cut it off. I mean, it's
brutal, yeah.
Brutal.
Like, that's one of those.
She's I tell you, what a performance though. I mean, for her to that's very, it's a very vulnerable spot. I mean, to be not just to say, I mean, to be nude almost the entire movie, but to be just dropped into dirt and that's crazy.
That's the kind of scenes I like to ask actors about. Like, how in the world did you get into that headspace to pull that off? Like, I just
I might reach out to her because she does. Where we follow each other on Instagram, so I'm gonna ask her. Actually, maybe I'll ask her, find out about that because that's a really tough. Like, that's heavy lifting there she did for that.
Yes. To say
that
the
role.
least.
That's like a lot of stuff to put up with for a movie. So
yeah. But it was great. It was great seeing the cameos. I mean, I guess not really cameos. They're sizable for where they were at this stage. I mean, this is Dick Miller and Sid Haig's one of their last performances on film, and you could tell they were frail and they weren't in the best of health. And given that they're probably short shooting schedule, I guess they were more than just a quick cameo. But it was great seeing them on screen again, and it was, as a horror fan, it was nice to see all the little nods to other horror movies like we talked about.
Yeah, and Sadie Katz did another good job. I just watch her and all her horror stuff. So she does such a good job too. The guy that played the some of the characters I remember the main guy with the curly hair.
Yeah.
That guy was cracking me up. Just because he's so never changes his tone no matter what's going on. Really.
You know how bad I would have been freaking out if I found out I was stuck there all day and he's just chilling on the.
It would have killed me. I would have died. Especially, not only that, and he jokes about it, but the fact that he's in the same clothes and underwear for 3 days.
Yeah.
I can barely stand the same underwear on in one day without a shower. So, yes, and I know I'm a little OCD, but still, I mean, the way he's just chilling there and they're eating nothing but Hot Pockets and jalapeno poppers or whatever, I like literally, I would go nuts knowing that I'm like stranded at someone's house. Why did it take them that long to decide to just take the cab? I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah. Especially some stranger's house. I mean, it'd be different if you're at your friend's house, but some stranger.
Yeah, it's do it. You know what? It was like that, like a movie length experience of that Seinfeld episode where Jerry and Elaine get stuck at the party because George leaves them there on Long Island. Yeah. They're waiting for Kramer. That's totally what I'm like thinking, and that gave me anxiety. And that was like a 15-minute sequence in a 22-minute comedic episode. So yeah, that's funny you said that because that was totally what I was thinking. I'm like, oh my god, I would die already. This week goes, oh, we'll just wait it out another day. I'm like, well, you crazy? No,
I was thinking home. The same thing. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, overall, my thoughts on this one were there were parts of it I really liked. Like I said, I liked the gore was really well done. Some of the torture sequences were like unnervingly good, and I don't typically that stuff doesn't typically faze me. But if you do it, I guess maybe since I got older, I get a little more responsive to that. Maybe becoming a parent or something. I don't know what it is, or get older, or whatever. I don't know. But it freaks me out a little more than it used to, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because I used to watch Hostel and Hostel 2 all day long and not even bat an eye.
Yeah.
And now that kind of stuff, I'm just like, I try to shy away from it. But I still respect it. Like when I see a really well done scene that kind of like unnerves me to that level, I know that they did a really good job. And this one has a couple of scenes in here that I was like, man, like that's intense. That's really, really intense.
I will say the props because this is what I always want to see in a Hanukkah horror movie was that they did the human yarmulke. That was great.
Yeah, that
part
good.
To me was like I was like that was a necessity. There was not much I went in there demanding other than, and I got what I wanted out of it was that, and at least a few like holiday puns and stuff like that. And of course there was that sequence where they were sitting on the bed and they were just going through some of the other possibly like Hanukkah or Jewish holiday horror movies. So the two things I really wanted from it, I got.
Yeah. So, the only other, like I said, the weak side to me was, and just being honest here is, to me, I think it kind of had that same, and I told Brian this earlier, there were parts of it where I felt like scenes maybe went on just a little bit, like a hair too long, where it could have used like a little bit of tighter editing cleanup or something. You see it sometimes with some low budget films where the dialogue like hangs for a second too long. I don't know how to explain it without showing you a particular sequence. But I mean, for what it was, I had a good time with it. And like I said, if you're there for the gore, I think that's definitely the strong point of the movie. And there's some good comedic sequences and stuff. I don't think we've hit the Hanukkah horror classic that we're still waiting for. Not yet. But it takes films to build upon to get there. So hopefully one day we will get a solid Hanukkah horror movie. But isn't Hanukkah horror in general?
Yeah, well, the Jewish holidays in general, it's like the running joke how like they're always something. I mean, like I said, well, like, maybe they'll do a Passover horror movie, but the story of Passover is pretty horrific as it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like the real history. What more are you going to do? Yeah, like what more could you do? But I like the funniest thing, I do love the tagline where it says a horrifying new tale of horror. So I mean, you got to give it props for that. And I will say I have to bring this up. I had purchased this on disc a while back when it came out. It was delayed about 2 months, I think, inexplicably. But then when it finally got released, I was so excited I got it. But I purposely saved to watch it because I knew we were going to do it in our holiday time period. So I popped this disc in, and the first like 20 minutes it's fine. Then all of a sudden I noticed the audio is slightly off. And I said, you know what? I did hit pause at one point to go. I don't know. I think it was Obi was running around, and I wanted to make sure he was okay. So I went and I paused it for a quick second. But then
when I came back, so I thought maybe that was it, but then I realized no, that wasn't it. So I paused it again to make sure it was caught up, and I actually stopped it, went back in, and it was I was watching it on Xbox. So I just downloaded the new thing. So I thought maybe it was an Xbox thing, like maybe it was a new Blu-ray play. But then I noticed the dialogue was like severely off. Like I'm talking like 4 seconds.
Oh my gosh! Like that's even like a microsecond off. You can tell. Like your brain can pick up on it.
I mean, this is literally the people off the screen, and then you'd hear them speak.
Oh my gosh!
So I said, all right, wait a minute, let me see what it is. So I Googled it, and sure enough, there was a major. Supposedly, it was basically released late because of the audio issues. But they said, I guess some old discs shipped out already. And so I guess one of the ones I got, because I ordered it right away, I got one that was defective. So one guy said just email the company, which I did, but he said he was waiting for his replacement disc, but they shut down due to COVID. But I went on their site, and they look like they're still active and stuff. So I sent an email on Saturday, so I was hoping for something today, but I didn't get it back. So if I don't get anything back tomorrow, I'm going to message them again. But this literally... I struggled through the movie because I was enjoying the movie. So what I did is I put on subtitles that helped it a little bit, even though the subtitles were still off. But at least, I guess, reading the subtitles made it a little easier to deal with the audio spots. But I have to tell you, that was like literally the worst quality disc I've ever owned. Ooh. And knowing the amount of discs I've owned, that is saying something. I don't know how the company was allowed this disc in this condition to come out. Like, they should have recalled everything. Wow. If they even thought that it slipped out. Because you can't release something like this. Like, here I am, like I'm watching the movie, I'm really getting into it in 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, now this audio issue happens, and it's off by 4 seconds. And it's funny, at one point towards the end it caught up, it kind of matched again for a little bit, but then went back. Like I think Dick Miller's scene kind of caught up a little bit. That seemed like it was better. It was maybe like a fraction off. But yeah, I can't believe they let a disc out like that release in that poor condition.
Yeah.
But,
do you think?
Yeah, we'll see.
So do you think we don't get a lot of Hanukkah or Easter movies? I mean, my theory is that because they're too closely tied to religion, and it just seems to me, I guess that Christmas has become secularized enough that they can get away with it.
Well, because they base it on Santa Claus, and that's not the really religious aspect of it.
I mean,
that's why if you look, every holiday horror movie features either a Santa Claus or just something happening or killer on Christmas.
Right, they're not doing a horror based on the nativity scene.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it hard for like Jewish horror, because every Jewish holiday is so tightly. It's not really secular.
It's very tradition based. Very
So to me, it seems like horror movies would be it'd be just too close to being disrespectful, and I think it's the same way with Easter, because even though Easter's become a lot more secularized with the Easter Bunny and stuff. I don't think it's reached the level of the secularization of Christmas to the point where I guess people feel comfortable really doing horror movies around it. I don't know. It seems weird. I guess it's just a weird holiday to try to base horror around. I don't know. It struck me when I was watching this, and I was like, it's so heavily religious overtones that I'm going, I don't know. Like, do people find this like really offensive, or? I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not like super religious, so it's hard for me to say, because I'm kind of looking at it from the outside. But to me, it was like, I guess I don't know. Maybe it would rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, I think they need to do a bar mitzvah horror movie or something like that. Though. That's They need to have something along like that. It's like, you're 13, but will you survive? Something like that. Like like a town where like all the bar mitzvah kids are getting off to 13. I don't know. Well, you gotta see. There's definitely this. I know Conan and I were joking about one, which I don't want to say because we actually toyed about actually possibly writing it. So don't want to spoil that one. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of there's some they could probably get somehow. I don't know. We got to see.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I'll go talk to. Maybe I'll go look up, see if there's any other because I think there was another Hanukkah horror movie that was supposed to be out or was out or something.
There's got to be another one somewhere out there.
Yeah. There's not a Latka of them, but there's sorry.
We had to sneak one in there, guys.
Yeah, I had to do it anyway. But real quick though about that Dick Miller thing. So that Walter Paisley name, remember, he uses that a lot. A lot of characters. It was first used for Buckets of Blood, is where it started. I think that's Roger Corman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did that. And then there was Hollywood Boulevard, The Howling, Twilight Zone, the movie, Chopping Mall, all had Walter Paisley in some form, played by Dick Miller. So it's kind of like this running joke he has. So the thing that they made him Rabbi Walter Paisley, I think, is great.
That is great. That's a great little.
Well, the only thing better would have been Rabbi Futterman, but you know.
Some other trivia. Of course, we've mentioned this was Dick Miller's last film, and the last film that Sid Haig starred in before his death. Although,
that's debated though, they're saying, because Rob Zombie is claiming it was Three from Hell, but
I don't know how the timing shakes out on that. I didn't really dig that deep into it, but suffice it to say, it's one of his last performances for sure. And then the film's poster is an obvious parody of the Friday the 13th poster, which is a great nod. Again, that is one thing I liked about this movie. You could tell horror fans made this movie because there's tons of little Easter eggs like that. So
little horror fan, just like the setup is like a lot of horror movies. Just there's a lot of cool little wink nod moments in this. So
So what did you do for our Hanukkah beer pairing?
So I knew right where to go for this beer because it's from the Schmaltz Brewing Company in Troy, New York. They've done Hebrew beers.
Oh, great. Yeah.
They also recently did one called She Brew, which was in honor of RBG.
Nice.
So that was cool. So this year, though, they've been doing one each year. They've doing a Hanukkah themed beer, but this year is a little different. They did the 2020 version. It's called Hanukkah Beer, 8%. It's a golden jelly donut pastry ale, brewed with raspberry and cherry. It's brewed with 8 malts and 8 hops. Wow. So they're really sticking with the Hanukkah theme. But here's like the description, the full description of it. It says, a long way from the first 100 cases brewed in 1996 and delivered in a grandmother's Volvo, Hanukkah Beer is all new for 2020. 8 malts, 8 hops, 8% ABV, of course. Schmaltz cooked up a bright, shiny gift of its new golden jelly donut pastry ale brewed with 600 pounds per batch of real purees of raspberry and cherry with a generous slathering of pure vanilla. A glorious tribute to the beloved Sufganiyot dating back to the 1500s. The official chosen beer of this holiday will be available in the 12-ounce can, 4-packs, and limited draft through their East Coast wholesalers and through Brew Pipeline nationally. So you may be able to get that by you.
Ooh, nice. That sounds amazing.
I know. I'm totally hunting this one down.
All right. So our triple threat last week, we were looking for a movie, and the answer was Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me.
I'm surprised. Well, I mean, I guess the episode released just today, but no one's guessed this one yet. I'm surprised. I thought this would be a no-brainer, and we'd get like all these answers flooding in on day one.
Yeah, I'm guessing we'll get some correct answers on this one as the week goes on. So, clue number 1. While this film was intended to be part of a TV show's storyline, one of its main characters was played by a different actress in the series. Of course, the role of Donna Hayward was played by Moira Kelly, but Laura Flynn Boyle on the Twin Peaks TV series. Clue number 2, I had several cast members that were also on Seinfeld. So Walter Olkowicz, Grace Zabriskie, and Frances Bay all had guest spots on Seinfeld. Who didn't have guest spots on Seinfeld?
Yeah, seriously, right?
Warren Frost was also on Seinfeld, but his Firewalk with Me scenes were cut.
Yeah, and of course, if you remember, Walter Olkowicz played the cable TV guy that had the like little war with Kramer. Grace Zabriskie and Warren Frost, of course, played the Rosses, Susan Ross' parents, and Frances Bay, of course, played the famous Marble Rye lady. You stole my marble rye.
I love that show.
So,
oh my gosh.
So there's some. So not only did they guest spot, but they had some really memorable sequences on Seinfeld. So
clue number 3, this film was supposed to be one of a trilogy. While this never came to be, the overall story continued many years later. So while, of course, we did not get the promised trilogy of films, Twin Peaks did return to Showtime 25 years later with another 18 episodes, which I still have to watch.
And I know, you got to watch it. And it's still rumored to have another another season. They've been toying with it. Now with COVID happening, I don't know of how far that got pushed back, or what's on David Lynch's mind right now. Maybe he's going to be doing more movies, little short films with monkeys smoking cigarettes.
I don't know.
But, yeah, we don't know you never know where David Lynch is at, so.
I have a feeling he's going to do
any
more.
new Twin Peaks, I'd be good.
I have a feeling
You think he will?
I have a feeling he's going to do more Twin Peaks, yeah, I do.
I hope
have
so.
a gut
I
feeling.
love Death Sharers.
All right, so this week we are looking for an actor or actress. I really liked this one, Brian. This is a great one. So, clue number 1. My first big foray into horror was an all-time holiday horror classic. Clue number 2. I once played the mother of a very famous killer. And clue number 3. While I do have some quality horror credits, I may be best known for my Shakespearean performance. Now, to me, that's a pretty easy one because I'm a big fan of this person.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
As am I.
And I guess you know it's an actress because they did play the mother of a very famous killer.
Yeah. But, we did, but I think this is, it's like right in that middle challenge. Like, this is the kind of the point I try and hit for with these challenges. Not too hard, not too easy, but with a little research, you should be able to get it. And if you know your stuff, you may already have guessed it without having to do too much research.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right, so another great fan topic food question from our buddy, horror mailman, David McHugh. And, I like David's questions because they always make me think about things that I might not have thought about before. And this is one of those. When I read this question, I was like, I don't know that I've ever really given this question a lot of serious thought. So the question is, do you foresee significant changes for Civil Gore Podcast in the next few years?
As now that gasp you just heard was Cody all the way over from us. Because we know she does not like too many changes to our podcast.
Oh, is this where we announced the new host and that we're dropping off?
Yeah, we should. No, just kidding, Cody. But real quick, though, speaking of the podcast, I saw a thing go by on my, an alert go on. Apparently another monolith was found somewhere in Britain, so... apparently the people just doing Civil Gore homages everywhere.
Yeah,
it's
it's the announcement for our upcoming movie.
Our upcoming changes.
Yeah.
to the no, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, I thought about this and I don't foresee any significant changes over the next few years, other than hoping that we continue to grow the podcast and there's things I would like to do. That Brian and I have discussed. We'd love to get a table at one of the conventions. That's something we've talked about since day one. That's definitely high on my list to do like a New Jersey HorrorCon one year. Definitely new equipment. I really want to get a Rodecaster Pro to make recording and stuff easier and editing easier. I really need to replace my mic at some point because I broke my Yeti. So now I'm down to the Snowball, which is not a bad mic by any means, but it's not the Yeti.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that, but nothing structural wise in the show unless it makes sense, because I don't know what I don't know. And at the beginning of this show when we started this, I don't think I've ever could have expected, well, we're not going to have the dismemberment as a week, every week we're going to pull that out and make it a monthly. Stuff like that could happen based on whether we think it improves the show or not. But I don't see any significant changes. Like a significant change to me for a podcast was you have a new host, or a host drops out, or you significantly change topics, or you go from, we're not doing this weekly anymore, we're just going to do a monthly show or something like that. That would be like a significant change to me. I don't see any of that happening. I think what we've got works. We're comfortable in it now. We've been doing it for 4 years. So I don't know about you, Brian, but I don't really see anything significantly changing unless it's something for the better that I think the listeners would appreciate versus be up in arms against.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, and significant, of course, is an objective term, but I think people can usually agree on what would be deemed significant for something like that. And I think you've hit all of them, really. As far as we know, we're not changing a host. We're not changing hosts. We're not going to go from like horror to like, like knitting patterns or anything like that.
Or that's chairs, as the Kim and Ket I just listened to, where they were doing.
Oh yeah, how great was great. Yeah, that I was dying with that one. Yeah, nothing like that. I mean, and while I was looking at this question, I was listening to you too. I was trying to think if we could change anything right now, what would it really be? And other than like things you said, like other than like maybe upping the quality with like some equipment or branching out from just the podcast. Actually, you know what? No, there is one thing I would like to do, and it's not, I wouldn't say a significant change. It's just adding more to it. Would be maybe some Instagram live videos, just more, maybe expand our social media presence a little bit in different ways. Maybe making some more videos, for YouTube, stuff like that. But I don't call that a significant change to the podcast because it's an addition to the podcast. I think the core podcast will not go through. We're always going to have a movie of the week. Until we run out of them, we will be doing the summer slacations. I mean, I say at most would be the we're always going to have the beer pairing. I think at most would be the trivia game, which we like to change up every so often.
Yeah.
But right now, I think this one is the most popular one we've had. And this can go on forever. So, I mean, right now I see this going on definitely for next season.
Yeah.
This triple threat, because everyone seems to like that. I think we're going to still continue to do interviews. And if you think about the changes we did make, right? We never actually lost anything or removed something. We just repurposed it.
Right.
Because we found we realized that, while we were doing the show, just doing that dismemberment where it was just took you out of everything. You go from this first chop of exciting stuff, which we slightly changed too. Remember, because we were going through everything, but then we're like, you know what? Everyone saw this on social media. We shared it on social media. Why are we just rehashing something? We want a tighter show and get really into the meat of it, which is the main movie. Or when we started having interviews, it really highlighted that. We're like, you know what? Now these episodes are getting way too long. And the fact that I think everyone's saying like they loved the dismemberments as some of their favorite episodes, because it's like all the energy is focusing on the dismemberment itself, and I think, and then the film historians seem to take a mind of its own, and it's a whole thing. So I think other than that, if you think about it, we haven't really taken anything away from the podcast ever.
No.
I mean, we shifted days again to make things easier. And even then, that ended up leading to more bonus episodes for everyone. We've done more episodes, I think, this year than ever.
We have.
I think this might be our most amounted this year because of all the little mini-sodes. And we did the festivals and the little movie things because we could do them virtually this year. We got to attend more of those. Stuff like that I would like to add to more repertoire, get more of those kind of things. And we get a ton of great screeners from so many great people that are always willing to support and sends us stuff. So I mean, if anything, I just make it, just improve on what we have. So if that's a significant change, then I guess yes, but I don't see that as a significant change. I think that's just kind of doubling down on what we already have.
Yeah, I definitely want to get the website up. I've been working.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, I've been working on it, and it's just, it's one of those things. It's not just that doing a website takes time. I'm having to learn how to do it because I'm not a website designer. I don't, even though you're doing it on, with one of these website builders that kind of tries to make it easier for you, there's still a learning curve there, and that's something I've really struggled with, is trying to get that. Not only finding the time to work on it, but also figuring out how to do it. Because I think the website presence would be huge in getting our numbers up, just so people would have a home base. And it's something also that Brian and I have talked about once we get a website up, is maybe do blog posts and stuff where we could,
yeah. There's
times during the week where I think of some cool discussion topic that maybe never makes it on the show, but I could go out there and, and write a few paragraphs on and put out on the webpage just as some extra content. That's
right. So if anything, you'll get more. You'll get more.
Yes, definitely
from us, not less. You won't get less from us. Another thing too, you reminded me when you said the website too, is we do because we basically have the structure of it there. We just need to kind of tweak it and finalize it. I would love to get the Discord going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's fun.
Because that'll be fun. Because I know we've been Cody's been asking about that too, and stuff like that. Maybe do more some like, live events, like maybe do some more like, watch parties and stuff like that, basically like that. But I don't know if that's significant changes, and it seems even less significant to us because it's stuff we've been talking about for 3-4 years since we've been doing it. We've just, done it like in little dribs and drabs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what we should do though? Maybe we should send out, kind of like what Coaster Radio does a little bit. Maybe we'll steal the rest of their stuff.
Yeah, might as well.
Maybe do like almost like a little survey thing of what people like and dislike, what they want to see added, or just let us know if you're listening. Just I don't know if we have enough. Like I don't, it's not like we have everyone's email and stuff, but just if you just want to let us know what you like or what you want to see or what you want added or something, let us know, because we, as you know, we always take everything into consideration and we try our best to always answer back when people contact us. So definitely let us know if there's something you like. I wish you guys would do this or do that. And yes, David, I know you want to hear us do One Cut of the Dead. It's definitely in the coming up. I promise.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you back here next week for another holiday horror movie. Take care and stay away from those killer dreidels.
Yes, and if you ever actually played a dreidel, they could be very dangerous.